Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. And today we're going to try something a little different.
Okay.
We're going to do a deep dive on the life of rapper Rick Ross.
Wow.
As told in his memoir, Hurricanes.
Right.
And I have to admit, I'm a little bit fascinated by this guy.
But he's a fascinating figure for sure.
Yeah. And I'm really curious to see how much of, the public image is carefully crafted versus how much of it's the reality of William Leonard Roberts II,
right.
The man behind the Rick Ross persona.
Yeah. This is like right off the bat, he uses his real name.
Yeah.
Which kind of sets the tone for the whole book. Like he's inviting us to look past the facade, the larger-than-life persona, the Maybachs, the Wingstop empire, and get to the man beneath all that.
Yeah, and that title, Hurricanes, it's not just a catchy phrase.
No, it's a deliberate choice. That frames his life as this constant battle against the forces of chaos.
Right.
A struggle to maintain control amidst all these external storms.
Like that moment where he's in court, facing serious charges. And the judge, completely straight-faced, wishes him a happy Independence Day after setting bail.
Right.
That's got to mess with your head a little bit, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a chilling detail.
Yeah.
It really highlights the precarious nature of his freedom.
Right.
And the sense that everything could change in an instant. It underscores that idea that even when things are seemingly going his way, there's this undercurrent of danger.
Right. It's a reminder that things aren't always what they seem.
Right.
But before we get too deep into the darker chapters, let's rewind a bit, because what I found surprising was how much his family history contrasts with that tough guy image.
Yeah.
It's almost wholesome, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like this stark contrast to the persona that he cultivates later on.
Yeah.
See the influence of his hardworking parents and grandparents.
Yeah.
The values they instilled in him.
His grandfather's story in particular is fascinating.
Yeah.
Going from a sharecropper in Mississippi to becoming the first black supervisor at a trucking company in Memphis and buying a home during segregation. I mean, talk about resilience.
Yeah, that speaks volumes about the determination and grit that runs in the family.
And his mother running a cafe while pursuing not one, but 2 nursing degrees.
Wow.
I mean, she's a force of nature, clearly.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, if those values were so deeply ingrained, how did he end up on such a different path?
Well, that's where the environment comes into play, right?
Yeah.
His parents moved to Miami hoping for a better life.
Yeah.
That classic American dream.
Right.
But the Miami they encountered is a far cry from the postcard paradise they envisioned.
More like Paradise Lost, right?
Yeah.
We're talking drug wars, racial tensions boiling over after the McDuffie beating.
An influx of refugees.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami in the 80s was a turbulent place.
And that context is so crucial for understanding
Yeah.
Rick Ross's later music, his lived experience, the harsh realities of his environment. They become like the foundation of his artistic vision.
It's that authenticity that I think resonates with people.
Yeah.
He's not rapping about something he saw on TV.
Right.
He's drawn from his own life.
Exactly.
His own struggles.
Yeah.
And yet, despite all that chaos outside, his family home remains this stable, loving environment.
It's a testament to the strength of that family unit.
Yeah.
His mom, even with her busy schedule, makes sure there's a home-cooked meal every night.
4 courses, no less.
Right. It speaks to the values being instilled.
Yeah.
The importance of family amidst the storm. And alongside this foundation, you see the beginnings of his musical awakening.
Right. His parents had that old school stereo console playing constantly.
Yeah. And so he's exposed to everything from his dad's jazz, Miles Davis Coltrane, to his mom's soul and gospel.
Wow.
The Isley Brothers, Sam Cooke, Mahalia Jackson.
What a diverse musical palette.
Talk about a diverse musical palette.
Yeah.
But his introduction to hip-hop, that's a story in itself.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you're in elementary school, and suddenly 2 live crews' raunchy lyrics are blasting through the hallways.
I can only imagine the chaos.
And of course, Ross, being the class clown, can't resist rapping these lyrics in the cafeteria.
Nope, he gets himself into trouble.
Classic.
Yeah.
But it's that youthful curiosity mixed with this budding fascination with
language and wordplay.
And that fascination deepens when he discovers Too Short.
Yeah.
It's like a switch flips. He becomes obsessed with hip-hop culture.
Right.
And that obsession leads him down some interesting paths.
Okay.
He's working at a car wash.
Sure.
And his side hustle becomes organizing the Dope Boys cassette takes.
To figure out their musical taste.
It's market research for a future rap career.
Yeah.
He's absorbing, learning the nuances of the streets.
But those close encounters with the drug world, the flash of cash and the ever-present danger, they start to pull him in.
It's that age-old dilemma.
Yeah.
The allure of easy money versus the warnings from those who've seen the dark side.
He's learning how to bust down an ounce of drugs from Big Mike,
a
prominent figure in Miami's drug scene, and wouldn't you know it, Jabbar's father.
Or the irony.
Right.
He's getting cautions from adults about the risks.
Yeah.
But then witnessing the material rewards firsthand.
Right.
It's a lot for a teenager to process.
And it's about to get even more complicated because as he gets deeper into that world, the stakes get higher and the consequences become very real.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah. As we move into the late 90s, the dangers really escalate.
Yeah.
There's this crackdown on drug operations, stricter laws, more people turn an informant.
Right.
It's a volatile time.
Yeah, that period really paints a stark picture of the risks involved.
Right.
We hear that harrowing story of Booby getting shot 5 times.
Yeah.
A brutal reminder of the violence that permeates that world.
Yeah, and then there's Jabbar's arrest, which hits close to home for Ross.
Right.
He sees the legal consequences becoming a reality for people he knows.
Yeah.
So he starts exploring other options. He tries college football, faces some setbacks, and eventually finds himself back in Miami. But then there's this unexpected turn toward religion.
Yeah, this is where we see that internal conflict emerge.
Right.
He's attending Calvary Chapel, a mega church in Fort Lauderdale, with his friend Deuce.
Yeah.
At the urging of their landlord, Steve Smoke.
Right.
Who sees them as these lost souls in need of saving.
It's quite a jarring juxtaposition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dealing with 25 to life situations.
Right.
While seeking solace in religion.
Yeah, he even talks about taking communion
and
feeling this shift, like a turning point in his life.
Yeah, it's a fascinating glimpse into his internal struggle, I think. Is it a genuine search for redemption?
Right.
Or a calculated move?
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But it's clear that he's grappling with these questions of morality.
Right.
While still navigating this dangerous world.
And that internal conflict doesn't disappear overnight.
No.
He's still hustling even while attending church. But eventually music becomes his primary focus.
Right.
And it's not an easy road. His early music career is a story of perseverance.
Right.
He's frustrated with slip and slide records, feeling overlooked, but then boom, Hustlin' drops and changes everything.
Yeah, that single was a game changer.
Huge.
And E-Class, his manager, this marketing genius, plays a pivotal role in his breakthrough.
Yeah, this guy blankets Miami with Rick Ross's image.
Oh, he understood the power of image and hype.
Right.
It was a brilliant marketing strategy.
All right.
And it worked.
Posters everywhere, hot air balloons, even driving a semi-truck with Rick Ross cutouts to Houston for NBA All-Star Weekend.
Yeah. Talk about going all out.
Talk about going all out. But even with all this success, Ross has this nagging fear of becoming another Where Are They Now story.
Yeah, he'd seen too many artists rise and fall quickly.
Yeah.
So instead of blowing his advance money on, fleeting luxuries, he spends 9 months touring.
Wow.
And meticulously crafting his debut album, Port of Miami.
A smart move, focusing on Bill and a lasting career rather than just a short-lived moment in the spotlight.
Absolutely.
And with Port of Miami, he really solidifies that persona.
Yeah.
That larger-than-life, luxury-obsessed character.
Yeah, it's fascinating how he draws inspiration from his surroundings. He's coming from a world where candy-painted donks and gold chains were like the ultimate status symbols.
Right.
But Ross takes it a step further.
Yeah.
He's aiming for Maybachs and Versace.
Right. He's elevating those aspirations.
Exactly.
Rapping about fine dining instead of street food.
Right.
It's aspirational, but it's also deeply rooted in his own experiences.
Yeah.
And it resonates with a huge audience.
Yeah.
He signs with Def Jam Port of Miami, goes double platinum.
It seems like he's unstoppable.
Right.
But then that infamous photo surfaces.
Oh, yeah.
A correctional officer photo.
What a scandal.
People are questioning his street cred.
Yeah, calling him a fake.
Right.
It could have been a career-ending blow.
Absolutely.
But instead of denying it or downplaying it, Ross leans into the controversy.
Wow.
Uses it to fuel his beef with 50 Cent.
Right.
Turning it into this spectacle that captures the attention of the entire hip-hop world.
It was like hip-hop's version of a WWE feud.
It really was.
Yeah.
Diss tracks, online taunts, even donkeys involved.
Right.
I mean, it was crazy.
It's a fascinating example of how both artists understood the power of media manipulation and public image.
Yeah.
They knew how to create buzz, how to stay relevant.
But for Ross, I think there's this deeper element at play.
Yeah.
He's not just trying to win a rap battle.
Right.
He's trying to prove his authenticity, not just as a rapper, but as a businessman.
Right.
A force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. And that leads us to his business ventures, right?
Right.
His move from rapper to brand builder.
Yeah. The Wingstop investment is a perfect example.
A perfect example.
You know, he chooses a brand he genuinely enjoys.
Right.
Something he can authentically represent. It's not just some random endorsement deal.
Right. It's a strategic decision.
It is.
And it pays off big time.
It does.
And then there's the purchase of a Vander Holyfield's estate.
Right. A 45,000 square foot mansion on 105 acres.
Talk about a power move.
Talk about a power move.
It's almost symbolic, right?
Yes.
Like he's achieved this level of success that once seemed unimaginable.
Right.
He's surpassing even the accomplishments of a former heavyweight champ.
And what I find interesting is that he puts his mother and sister in charge of managing his finances.
Yeah.
You know, it speaks to his trust in them.
Right.
But it also reveals the savvy business sense.
Absolutely.
He's not afraid to delegate to surround himself with competent people. But this lavish lifestyle doesn't come without its risks.
No.
You know, the book doesn't shy away from the darker side of fame.
Right.
The ever-present threat of violence.
That drive-by shooting in Fort Lauderdale is a chilling reminder.
Yeah.
That the chaos of his past isn't entirely behind him.
Right, and then there's the incident at BT Awards weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Where gunplay gets into a fight.
Right.
It's a moment that reveals how quickly things can spiral out of control.
Absolutely.
It's like a shadow that lingers.
Yeah.
And then there's the health scare on the plane. Oh, right.
The seizures it's a sobering reminder.
Yeah.
That even with all the money and the success, life can throw you curveballs.
It forces him to confront his own mortality.
Yeah.
To reevaluate his priorities.
Right.
He talks about wanting to leave a legacy for his children, to tell his story unfiltered and honest.
Right.
And that leads us to the heart of the memoir, really.
Yeah.
The things he's been through and how they shaped him.
So we've seen how Rick Ross rose from the streets of Miami to achieve phenomenal success.
Right.
But as we delve into the final chapters of Hurricanes, the tone shifts dramatically.
It does.
You know, it becomes less about the outward trappings of success.
Right.
And more about this introspection and the weight of his past.
You're absolutely right. The ending of the book isn't what you'd expect from this larger-than-life figure like Rick Ross.
Right.
It's surprisingly introspective and vulnerable.
I think the turning point seems to be the incident with Black. His close friend and bodyguard.
Yeah, who's found unresponsive at the Holyfield estate.
Right.
The 911 call that Ross makes is just gut-wrenching.
Oh, wow.
You know, you can hear the panic and desperation in his voice as he struggles to explain this situation.
It's raw.
It is.
Unfiltered.
Yeah.
Like it strips away the persona and reveals the human being underneath.
Right. It's this stark contrast to the carefully constructed image we've seen throughout the book.
Absolutely.
And the aftermath of that incident seems to trigger this wave of introspection.
Yeah.
Ross talks about the guilt, the regret, the realization that the life he's built has come at a cost.
Right. He reflects on the loss of his father.
Yeah.
The strained relationships, the missed opportunities for connection and reconciliation.
It's a far cry from that boastful persona we often associate with Rick Ross.
Right. There's this real sense of vulnerability
as
he grapples with these weighty issues.
And that vulnerability extends to his thoughts on fatherhood. You know, he wants his children to know the real him.
Right. The good and the bad.
Yeah, there's this clear desire for redemption.
Yeah.
Not just for himself,
right,
but for the legacy that he will leave behind.
It makes you re-examine that title, Hurricanes.
Yeah.
In a whole new light.
Right. It's not just about those external forces of chaos.
Right.
But also the internal storms he's weathered.
Right. The emotional turmoil.
Exactly.
The battles fought within.
It speaks to the complexities of success the price of ambition and the search for meaning that goes beyond material wealth.
He seems to be acknowledging that the relentless pursuit of the American dream, especially within the context of hip-hop culture, often comes with the dark side.
Absolutely.
He's not shying away from the tough questions.
No.
It's like he's saying, look, I've achieved all this, but it's not without scars.
Yeah.
Without sacrifices.
There's a level of honesty there.
There is.
That's refreshing.
Even if it's unsettling at times.
Even if it's a little unsettling.
Yeah, he's not offering easy answers.
Right.
Or trying to sugarcoat the realities of his journey.
And that's what makes Hurricanes such a compelling read.
I agree.
It reminds us that even behind that larger-than-life persona, behind the bling and the bravado, there's a human being wrestling with the same fundamental questions of identity, purpose, and legacy that we all face.
Absolutely.
And that final line of the memoir is just brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
He says, what makes me a boss is not the stories that I tell.
Right.
It's the ones I don't.
It's a mic drop moment.
It is.
He's acknowledging there's always more to the story.
Right.
Depths that remain unplumbed.
Yeah.
And it invites us to kind of contemplate.
Yeah.
The untold stories, the choices made, the paths not taken.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Rick Ross's Hurricanes, what are your final takeaways?
For me, it's the unexpected vulnerability and introspection.
Yeah.
The willingness to confront the complexities of his life and choices. It adds a whole new dimension to the Rick Ross we thought we knew.
It's a reminder that behind every carefully constructed persona, there's a human story waiting to be told.
Absolutely.
And often the most compelling stories are the ones that reveal the struggles, the contradictions, the messy realities of being human.
It challenges us to look beyond the surface and grapple with the nuances of a life lived in the spotlight.
Right. A life that is both aspirational and cautionary.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into Rick Ross's Hurricanes.
Wow.
We hope you enjoyed this journey through the life and times of one of hip-hop's most fascinating figures.
Yeah, he's a fascinating guy.
We'll be back soon with another stack of captivating source material.
Great.
Ready to unearth the hidden truths and unexpected connections that make life so incredibly interesting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Until then, keep exploring and keep asking questions.